to Inspired Impact TV. I am here today with the incredible Michelle Reinglass. My friend Michelle is an award-winning attorney with a 30-plus year career, who has done an absolutely incredible, groundbreaking things in her career, some of which she'll tell you about today, others of which you're going to have to learn, get into her world and buy all her books to learn about, right? But it is really powerful, the steps that Michelle has taken in her personal life and her career that sets her apart from so many other people that I talk with, because of the risk that you're willing to take by using your voice, Michelle, and standing up for yourself, what you know is right, and what you know to be your dreams for your life and what you desire to create. And what I love about you, Michelle, before I turn it over to you, is that you take these steps to fulfill your dreams. And I know that you're doing this because you are wanting to pave the way, the path for others to follow, right? In what it is that you are doing. And that's why you are spending all of these hours, and you're on all these boards, and you're in charge of all of these committees, right? Because you want to create the path for others. So this is my friend Michelle. I mean, if we're not already inspired, then you have to buy the book. But I'm already inspired, and I'm inspired every single time I speak with you and I hear more about what you're up to in the world. So Michelle, welcome. And will you start by kicking us off and telling us the title of your chapter, or a little bit about what your chapter is about, so that we can get to know you and your story?
Thank you for that introduction, Kate. And I'm so happy to be on this program. Thank you. So the title, well, the book, my chapter, is about resilience, and the title of it is Resilient in Today's World. So, and I don't know, I've been a lifelong, supporter of women. And as I kept seeing women marginalized, I was one of the very early women in law, not the earliest, but there were very small percentage of lawyers, for example, were women, small percentage of judges. And so I had, after so many experiences where you kept being told, you know what, you might need to, dress a little bit, you should wear dresses in the courtroom, and you should, and then I had a judge, for example, who, even though I'd been in practice for 10 years and my opposing counsel was older than me, but he'd been in practice for like 5 minutes. And the judge said, well, Ms. Reinglass, perhaps what you need to do is learn a little bit more from Mr. So-and-so here. And I give that my opposing counsel credit. He said, actually, Your Honor, I think it's I who needs to learn from Ms. Reinglass, who's been practicing much longer than me. So it's those kind of things where you just went through it automatically, and you were, people, when they walked in the room and they see you at a deposition, they would immediately put you in a chair for the court reporter because they didn't believe that you could possibly be a lawyer. So those kinds of things. And so you're constantly fighting for credibility, you're fighting for, respect, and to be just believed. And so we always, I found one other female, then I found another female, and we joined together to support each other. So I just wanted to make it my mission to support my fellow women. I guess that's a weird word, fellow women.
Yeah.
And then I became a president of our local bar association, and that gave me a platform to actually start a committee called Gender Equity. And I grabbed a Court of Appeal justice and a female lawyer, both powerful women, to chair it. And we got judges and lawyers on it, and it was amazing. And so just carried things through.
Absolutely incredible. So this is your professional career, and also, really kind of some of your personal commitments and passion really coming to life in what you just described to us, which is truly remarkable. What inspired you, though, to want to write about this and share part? We all have a big story, so it's only part of your story. But what inspired you to want to share part of your story in this book?
Well, this is kind of the funny part. So I was writing this book on balance. It's a whole nother story, but and working for 3 years. And when I felt that I was out of balance, and kind of got roped into speaking on balance, and then got roped into, or somehow lured into, writing a book. So I was working on that one, and I joined a program with Jack Canfield, and I met a person named Denise McCormick. I want to give her a shout out. And Denise had been working with Kate and did I think it's the Inspired Impact book, and this group collective book. So she and I ended up talking, and I was really interested, and it sounded cool. She was a best-selling author, and she was telling me how fun it was to work with a group of people. So the next thing I know, she was, hey, I'm setting up a meeting. And so we met. And so here's this dichotomy that is going on. I am so busy and I'm so swamped, and I'm working full time. I'm a mediator now. And I transitioned from a stressed out lawyer to a allegedly peaceful mediator career. And it took me a while to figure out that my issues had nothing to do with my job. They had to do with me. So I brought my baggage from one job to another job. And so those are things I was dealing with, and I've been working on my book. And then I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to fit in doing another book while I'm still writing my other one? And then Kate talks about whispers. I had whispers that started getting louder and louder that said, why would you not do this? And the second part of that, I'll make it quicker. I was in a media summit, and they had podcasters and they had radio people and TV people, and you do pitches. And through this program, I thought I was really, something was wrong with me, because I couldn't just nail down one pitch, so I'm pitching my balance book, and mind you, I don't have anything to do with this program yet, with Kate's program. So I'm just working on my balance book, and I'm doing my pitch, and that a lot of these people deal with women's issues. And I said, but I can also talk about women empowerment. I put on these retreats, I put on these dinners, and they look at me like, and they finally, some people would say, sure, we'll put you on. Or some would say, why don't you get clarity and then contact us, and it was so synchronistic. It was just so amazing when I realized what the title of this group book was Women Who Empower. And I went, and then I realized a little bit later how much symmetry there was between women when they're disempowered, when they are marginalized, when they are, just brought down. Because what happens when people make you feel small is you become small, and then you sort of embody that. And then what I started realizing also is, because I've been studying balance for a number of years, it's a whole nother story, by the way, is that you're out of balance. And so I went, oh my God, these two things have been my life for 40 plus years. And I got to merge these together. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit more about, you made this discovery between the connection of being out of balance, or, just balance in general, being out of balance and feeling disempowered. Tell us about, first of all, a little bit more about that connection, and what do we do with it? So what would a takeaway be for someone who connects with you, a person who is in the room when you're doing one of your motivational speeches, or a reader of your book? What is my takeaway when I make the connection between being out of balance and being disempowered? And how can you kind of help me put those dots together, Michelle?
The very first step is getting aware, being conscious. And the best way to do that is, and one of the most important things that we have is mindset. And so when you get clarity and when you get in touch with where you're at, then you suddenly you can become aware when you suddenly pivot. All of a sudden you spiral down. Sometimes it's just a comment somebody makes, and it's like you went from being like this happy person they started the day with, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. Or it can be a comparator complex. It's like somebody just goes, I just got booked on the Today Show. And you're like, oh, or somebody says, you did what? You did that or something. Just the slightest little thing. So I say those things because it's so easy to get into that. So the mindset, becoming aware that you are sinking out of your high vibe zone. Second part is you have to act quickly when that happens. And then that's getting your vibe back up, getting your energy, your self-love back up. And how do you do that? So the first thing I say to do on that, which would be step number 2, is going into, and both Kate and I use this word, but massive gratitude. And that is just like, Kate's has a different, she's actually taught me something that's made me make it even more massive. So 10 times, 10x, I 10x the massive. So if I can share this, when Kate said when she gets up, the first thing she does before she's out of bed is she starts going through every single thing she can think of that she is grateful for, whether it is the closet, whether it is having a house, whether it is that, I don't know, you didn't
Running water.
Pajama over there, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that now as well. So it's sort of like, say, 10x to my gratitude, but getting
So
yourself
cool.
into gratitude, which increases your energy, makes you feel better. And then the next thing is, in fact, if I'm working with someone, like I'm not a coach per se, but I'm a mediator. And so this comes up, these low vibes, these low self-esteem, low confidence things come out all the time. And as soon as I see it, I immediately have them get out a paper, or I'll hand a piece of paper to them, or 3 pieces of paper. And I say, do you have a pen? I want you thinking of every single thing that is good about you, everything that is positive about you. And they go, I don't know, I can't think. I said, you just finished telling me that you're an expert, with, technology, or you just nailed, and I tell them the things that they've been talking about with their work or whatever. And then I start saying, start getting them thinking. And I tell them when I come back, I want them to have that page filled with everything that they can think of that's positive about themselves. And I told them, I said, don't make me force you to go into the bathroom and stare at yourself in the mirror and start talking to yourself. And they're like, and so, and then the last thing is affirmations. And then it's, taking those. So those are the things, I shouldn't say that's the last, but that's if you want a quick way to try and get yourself out of that, and then you're empowered again. And once you get your power back, then you can be going, I'm not letting that happen. And so I just saw that complete symmetry between balance. You are completely out of balance, and it's one area of you may think it's only one area, but what's that phrase? How you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's the same thing in balance. If you've got one area of your life that's out of balance, you've got a more than one, and usually it's multiple areas that are out of balance. You don't even realize it. For example, well, let's say you're married and you're snapping at your husband, or you're angry, or you're frustrated, or, you're resentful, and you're taking things out and you have no idea why. Well, it's because of how you were treated at work, or, different things like that. So now you've got 2 areas. Now you've got, your own personal self-care and your state of mind, and you have your relationship now. And then probably, money can come into play. There's just, if you stop and think about it, it's a chain. So I didn't mean, so that's kind of what I wanted to convey, this this merger.
Yes. So beautiful. So it's the chain reaction. I love learning from you, Michelle. It's the chain reaction of really kind of whatever that one thing was that led us into an imbalance. And then when all of that chain reaction begins to happen, you find yourself in a place where you do not feel empowered at all. But I can take these 3 simple steps. Okay. Now they're simple when you prepared for them, right, Michelle? I know what my affirmation will be, right? So writing that down and having it as a go-to ahead of time, or having it in the notes section of your phone, let's say, right? Just as an example, but being prepared to say, okay, these are my 3 steps and I know what I'm going to do. And what you're telling me is that that's like a shift, right? And that's going to shift me back to feeling like I'm a little bit more in balance now with my life. And now all of a sudden my power comes back, right? And now I feel more empowered to make different choices, different decisions. It's going to start with how I speak to my husband, let's just say, right? In your example. Or it's going to start with my interaction with someone that was off an hour ago because I was off balance, and now I'm back in balance. So now my communication style is going to be different. And then what happens when we speak to someone correctly, not correctly, but in a different way, right? Or we're not in a fight with our husband. All of a sudden now our surroundings are supporting us. And it probably makes me feel, Michelle, I think is what you're saying, more empowered then to go after something more, right? Because look at you and what you've done in your life. You've gone after all the big goals and dreams. So is this how you've done it?
Well, with a lot of things I've learned after screwing things up badly. So I'll just say there's a lot of lessons that I've had on my path, but yes.
I love your transparency.
Yeah. I think that's where the resilience comes from, because
that's exactly it.
Many times where I have thought I should quit being a lawyer. in the middle of a trial. I thought that actually it was when I went to law school. We had one instructor that was just awful, and he didn't teach, and it was a very difficult topic. And to be honest, I wasn't really interested in it. It was, I'll tell you, it's trusts, putting things in trusts, and so it was very interesting. And he basically had us do breaks all the time, and instead of study. Anyway, I didn't do well in the class and I was struggling to just do it on my own in the book. And so I got, for the first time in my life, I'm an A student, my whole life, and all of a sudden A and some Bs, I guess, but over my lifetime. But I'd never gotten anything below, and I got a D in his class, and that put me on probation at my law school. And I decided, you know what, I deserve it. That's my fault. But I protested that to the deans, and I just said, I didn't get an education from this one professor. I just think you should know about it. And, I don't know that my grade's unfair. And it was the weirdest thing. And by the way, my parents, and they meant well, they were saying, maybe law isn't really for you, Michelle. I'm like, oh, no, law is for me, but they kept saying that. And for a moment, I started believing them. And then I said, no, I'm taking action. And so I went to the dean. I just wanted to tell you this. And I didn't ask for anything. And the next thing I got was, they fired the instructor, and they put a little note. We just want to make sure it wasn't because of you. And so obviously others had complained, I'm assuming. They upped my grade to a B, and then they called one of my other courses and they moved it up. And I went, I don't know why you did that, but I have to tell you, it empowered me so much, because I lived in that. I got a D. Oh my God, how could I live with myself with a D? I can't even say, me even saying it right now. So,
well, the universe rewards action, and the universe massively rewards massive action. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, is how we've heard that said before. So what you did, Michelle, and because you empowered yourself before you had the power. And this is what you teach people. This is what being resilient is all about, what Michelle teaches in her chapter here, right? She teaches all about being resilient. And being resilient and empowering yourself in those moments to step up, right? To take that risk, to go that extra step. And when you do that, it's a massive action. So you get a massive reward. Like, that's unheard of, that they would not only change the one grade, but change the other and fire all of it, just the way that it unfolded. It was like a massive thing that happened because you took massive action. You didn't listen to the naysayers, and although they meant well, they always do. Like, I don't think that there's very few people in our world that intentionally set out to destroy, right? So most of the mind chatter that's in our mind was meant well, and we're holding on to it from when we were 6 years old, right? And we're like, we can't get rid of it. So listen, I get it. But the point is that you made the choices. So listen, this is so big, what you're saying, and the very tangible experiences that you are sharing with our audience. And that's what you do in your chapter as well. You share this real life story, real life experience, but within the experiences, other little, very tangible conversations and exchanges, right? That every single person can relate to. I love how you write. So we have to get this book today to read Michelle's chapter, but also there's so much coming from her down the road, right? There's another book inside of her, at least one, Michelle. And there's so many other things as well. So Michelle, where do we follow you? How do we get into your world? And how do we connect with you?
The best way is my website, which is www.reinglassadr.com, reinglassadr.com. And that has all my contact information through it, and my lifetime of working is in there as well. And we have some media. I have a media section as well. And but anyway, that's how my contact information is easily located.
It's been such a pleasure having you on this author journey. Congratulations on becoming a published author.
I know.
How amazing.
Can I do that?
Yes. It's just yes, exactly. It is absolutely just the beginning. I personally cannot wait to see all of the amazing things that you can continue to do and that continue to unfold for you. Because make no mistake about it, this is just the beginning for you. You are a powerhouse. And if there is anyone that's going to teach me resilience and how to empower myself, Michelle, it's going to be you. So I really encourage everybody out there to connect with Michelle, follow her on her website, on social media. Thank you for being here, and thank you for inspiring us all today.
Thank you, Kate.
It's been a pleasure. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.